This is Core's new Pace. The Pace Pro won the heart of the extreme big air scene almost 9 months ago. While the Pace Pro performs especially for double and triple loops, thanks to its Alula material, the Pace with the Exotex construction is much more user-friendly and, in my opinion, much more forgiving, especially in the takeoffs. As a big fan of the NEXUS 4, I want to compare the Pace with the NEXUS 4 to find out which will be my kite of choice in the future. In this video, I want to test the kites in terms of jump height, hang time, kite loop performance and unhooked freestyle suitability. Let's go! Peace everyone, welcome back to the vlog and thanks for tuning in again. You guessed it so, you saw it on the thumbnail already. The darkroom version of the legendary Pace Pro just got released. I never rode it. It's, I think, a few months before the product release, before the official product release. And this will be also my first session on this prototype of the Pace. The Pace and the NEXUS are both 3-strut kites. And what I like about the NEXUS so much is that I can do all kind of disciplines with it. It's good for freeride, it's good for freestyle, it's good for foiling, it's good in the waves, and it's also good for big air. What I kind of miss a little bit on the NEXUS is jumping performance when it comes to heights. And what I'm looking for is a NEXUS on steroids. A NEXUS that allows me to do a lot of different disciplines, but still jumps maybe a little bit higher and maybe is a little bit better for big air. So that's why I'm very interested how the brand new Pace in Dacron behaves compared to the NEXUS. I would say we start with flatten both kites out and putting both kites on each other to get a little bit of an idea how different is the shape when it comes to the outline of both kites. Of course, the performance of a kite is not only connected to the outline. What plays a big role as well is the bridle system, how the bridles are shaped and how they are connected to the kites, and of course the shape of the lines, if it's a high V or a low V. So the first thing I realized when I just put those kites on each other is that the Pace is a little bit flatter when it comes to the depth, while the Pace is a little bit more straightened out when it comes to the overall length, what you can see over here. And as well, the Pace has some kind of round tips, while the NEXUS has some kind of edgy tips. So it seems to be a more straightened out kite, a more stretched kite, and the NEXUS seems to be a little bit more compact. What I also realized is that the bridles of the Pace are fixed, there's no roll included. It's a fixed bridle system, while the bridles of the NEXUS have these rolls. So we are here in France, it's 9 AM and it's very, very cold, freezing cold, it's November. So even before the release of the Pace, and we're about to hit the water for the first time. We are in Sainte-Marie-de-la-Mer, a very gusty offshore spot, and we have about 25 knots. We are going to perform 3 basic jumps and 3 basic loops with both kites to compare both kites in terms of jump height, hang time and kite loop performance. Pulls much less than even the NEXUS in the loop, but I'm not sure now if it's because of the conditions or if it's really the kite. But it loops extremely safe, even in this extremely gusty offshore wind. coming overland out of the mountains, it works well. So let's set up the NEXUS and see how this one works. That was very interesting. When I went with the pace, I didn't even realize how gusty the wind really is. Like the basic jumps with the NEXUS were alright. They were lower, but they were alright. What I found very interesting is that I found it much harder with the NEXUS to get a good vertical takeoff for a loop in this condition.
With the pace, I reached an average jump height of 9.53 meter. While with the NEXUS, I only managed 7.86 meter. The difference in hang time was also immense. With the pace, I had on average 0.6 seconds more hang time at a similar jump height and jumping technique. The kite loops with the NEXUS felt a bit snappier, but it was noticeably harder to time the takeoff right. Safe to say, when it comes to big air, the pace is a seriously comfortable big air rocket.
So this is the second session here, NEXUS versus pace, and I've got my 12 square meter pace ready, and now I would like to test it for freeride, old school, and maybe even some unhooked freestyle. Maybe that's a little bit of a personal interest, but I'm really curious how this kite behaves unhooked. I mean, I really liked it so far for old school and big air, and if it's also a nice unhooked kite, it could get a serious concurrence for the NEXUS, at least for me. So yeah, let's go out and enjoy this beautiful spot. Some of you might know this spot. We were here, maybe this mole over there looks familiar. We were here for our Ben Unstoppable in France shooting, and the wind is extremely gusty because it comes offshore, but the spot is insanely beautiful. It was so good. All this kind of gambling around and doing some kind of slides into unhook tricks, into this and that. It was very, very nice. Very cool kite. I really fell in love with it.
The increase in hang time is also clearly noticeable for old school and free ride. You simply have more time for everything, which makes the whole ride more enjoyable. Unfortunately, the pace didn't perform well for me as a passionate unhooked freestyler. During unhooked tricks, I couldn't predict how much pull to expect at all. And while that kind of slack-free power is great for safe kite loops, it's a killer for unhooked tricks. So for me, the decision is clear. I definitely don't want to give up the big air performance of the pace. But I also don't want to miss out on the freestyle capabilities of the NEXUS. From now on, it's going to be the pace and smaller sizes for big air, and I continue to use the NEXUS in larger sizes for unhooked freestyle.